Hi ladies, it's Ziva here. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm on my laptop today and we're using the webcam. Today's topic is you are the first impression because you are. Now, when we speak about being the first impression, I want women to really understand that yes, you can have a fantastic personality, you can be an incredible humanitarian, you can be all of these incredible, wonderful, purposeful things. But when somebody first sees you romantically, they don't know any of that yet. All they know is, oh, she looks attractive, or oh, she has nice lips, or oh, I like her legs in that skirt. That's all they can really see. Also, things like evaluating how classy you're dressed or elegantly dressed you are, but still with that hint of sex appeal. So at the end of the day, it's the first impression that counts the most. This is the looks aspect. And you do not have to be a 25 out of 10. Now, for me personally, I am a 25 out of 10, okay? But this isn't about me, this is about you. So, if you also want to be 25 out of 10, all you have to do is believe it. And of course, when you're actually going out, put your best foot forward, baby. That's what you have to do, honey. And that is what counts. Men are the kind of creatures who they really care about looks a lot. And this is not like, let's forget the whole shallow thing. Let's just kind of put that to the side. Okay, we know that solely caring about looks is kind of shallow. We do know that. But they don't only care about looks. Looks are just first and foremost. And the reason why is because naturally it comes back to wanting to procreate. That's what it comes back to with them. Now, of course, men are still naturally quite primal in that sense that they're looking for somebody attractive who they want to have offspring with, and that's why they're looking for like certain genetics. That's why men seem to really find attractive like curvier women with like hips and stuff, because it makes them think of childbearing and being able to handle a baby going through the birth canal, and it's very romantic. So these are the kind of things that make men attracted to certain things. Now, do not be upset if you don't look that way. I'm not, like a Coke bottle, as they used to say. I'm not like that. But at the end of the day, like, we just have to do what we have to do. We have to accentuate the things that we have to accentuate to have the look that we want to have. And that's the point, that makeup, outfits, hair, and perfume, posture, these are all things that are going to, they're a culmination of things to do to create that first impression. And my belly is rumbling. I really hope we can't hear this. Now, we're going to keep going. The first impression means that they think that what they see is what they're going to get. Now, I've spoken about this quite a lot recently, that men take everything at face value. Okay, so they're taking your looks at face value. So if you're dressed very modestly, they're going to think that you're the kind of woman who isn't going to be flinging around their body to everybody. But if you're the kind of woman who is bearing it all, they're going to assume that you want to get into bed with them, because they take everything at face value. And of course, as women, we know that that's not going to be accurate. But at the end of the day, men don't know this and they take everything at face value because that is just something that they do. Okay, so if 1 + 1 = 2, they're going to get 8. Now, so what you have to make sure you're doing when you are creating this first impression for an attraction to be created from them to you, for an approach to happen, for them to turn their butt around or walk over to you and say, hello, I'm David, blah, blah, blah. For that to kind of happen, or, for them to kind of for, for you to be noticed by them, you have to create this first impression, and this is done with your appearance. And the good news, ladies, is that whether you're more of an average looking woman or below average looking woman, and above average women, because we know that they can also have sometimes a very difficult time getting approaches as well. So this is for all women generally, that it's still the same kind of process. You're going to really want to be careful and think about, what am I putting on my body? What clothing am I wearing? What am I trying to accentuate? What look am I going for? What message am I trying to send out? What impression do I want to make on these men? It's the first impression of your look that creates that knowledge to them, or impression really. It impresses their mind that says, look, okay, if I'm going over there, I know that I'm going to have to take her to this new restaurant that's just opened that has a Michelin star already, or whatever. So they understand what treatment to give you based on how you are appearing to them. Okay, based on how attractive they find you, based on the impression you're giving with your look, this is all down to you. You decide how they see you. You decide how attractive you're going to be and what kind of benefits you can get in your dating experience with that person. It's up to you. It's up to the woman, because you create your look, you create the first impression, and you make that first impression with the confidence aspect, the posture. You see the difference between how I'm just getting into this right now, and I'm just leaning in and not thinking about posture. But if I'm out and about, my back is over here. Okay, my back is like back there somewhere. So you got the posture going, you're looking confident. Even if you don't feel it inside, just fake it till you make it, and then it will start to come a bit more naturally. I feel like a soft face is good. Simple hairstyle, classy sexy outfit, or trendy classy, whatever it is that you're doing that day, but make sure that it's not 100% sex appeal, unless you're going to a nightclub. Then anything goes, right? But this is the first impression you want to be creating. Now, let's go to a first date, because especially I know lots of people are still dating online, because when you first meet somebody and you're approached in person, then you've already created that first impression. You've already done it. There's no way for you to redo that first impression. You have done it. And in fact, let's just go back a tiny bit, because if somebody is approaching you organically, you're out and about, let's say you've just walked out of a little shop, and you're walking down the road and there's somewhere else you want to pop in, and at that moment somebody runs around in front of you and says, excuse me, look, sorry to stop you, but, you just really caught my eye, and I would just be kicking myself if I didn't come over to you. In that instance, you kind of have to realize, right, I've already done the looks first impression and the walk. Now I have to do the feminine voice control first impression. Now I have to do the confident woman, flirty, but I know what I want first impression. That's when that comes into play as well. And you have to let him know this in a friendly, intriguing, enigmatic way. Okay, so I want you to think about, what do men find intriguing? And what they find intriguing is somebody who is very in their feminine, especially when they're a full on masculine man. They want the opposite of that. In that instance, opposites really do attract. He wants somebody who is going to make him have to do some legwork, make him have to do a little bit of chasing, and he doesn't just want his catch right there, he wants to have to earn it. And that's something that women have to learn. Definitely along my womanhood journey, that's something that I have learnt by way of trial and error, and it kind of sucks when you have to learn it that way. It's kind of nice when you have this kind of advice where somebody who has gone through the ringer can actually come back and tell you, so you don't have to waste your time making the same mistakes that I have. So, but of course, we all have to learn, right? But I'm telling you right now that this is something they want to do. They want to earn it. They want to earn your trust. They want to earn, um, even when it comes to that stage, way down the line, when maybe you're more physical. They want to earn these things. They want to feel like they've earned it. They don't just want to feel like you just fling it around, giving your trust and your body and everything to everybody. They want to earn it. And that's something you make them do from the beginning. So from that first encounter, so you've impressed them with your look and the fact that you have shown them, I'm a woman that you're going to have to earn me. You're going to have to work for me, work for my trust, work for my time, okay, work for everything. You're going to have to do that. That's the first impression. When it comes to a blind date, so we're speaking about internet dating now, and you've met somebody, you've seen their profile, they've seen yours, they know basic things about you, you know basic things about them, but there's been no first impression. You might have sent a voice note, the odd voice note here and there, but there's no solid like first impression there, okay? They don't even 100,000% know if you're real, okay? Because it could really be giving AI. So when you get onto that first date, that's when you can knock it out the park. It doesn't only have to be an in-person organic meet that you can knock out the park. It can really be online dating as well. So just bear that in mind, that when you are doing an online date, you want to turn up there with the same kind of energy that you would if you met somebody in person. Be an enigma, and if you don't know what that means, it just means somebody who's more mysterious. You don't want to put everything out there so he knows everything. He has to work to find out more about you. This is what they have to do. They have to put every kind of work in, and you just have to look nice, be an enigma, be friendly, and really have a bit of a sexy demeanor to you, but still be friendly and seem natural as well. Like you're acting natural. And kind of do, you know. Don't be robotic. Don't try to emulate somebody else. Be yourself, but the woman that you want to be, okay? And remember, when you're on that date, it doesn't matter if you were at home around the house with, you know, maybe you're just relaxing in your home clothes with your joggers on, your oversized t-shirt, and then you dress up and you go on that date. You might feel like, you know what, I'm not being me, this isn't me. I was just at home lounging and now I'm in heels and I'm looking a bit more dressy. This isn't really me, but it is. And that's the you that he knows right there. So he doesn't know the oversized t-shirt version of you. He only knows that version of you, the version that you're showing him on the date. So remember that to that man, that is the only version of you, and you just kind of have to remember that. So you really can literally be whoever you want to be. Now, that first impression on that first date, especially, will determine whether he's going to really know that he needs to come with gentleman ways, gentleman behavior, or whether he feels like he can be very cheeky and try to do a fast track into the bedroom. It's going to let him know how he needs to maneuver. It's going to let him understand if he needs to come up with a greater way to potentially get to a more, you know, a closer, let's say, situation with you. So remember that at the end of the day, they're looking for ways to get you in a compromising position. Let's just say that. Now, at the end of the day, ladies, I want you to remember that your first impression is the greatest impression you can ever make. And this is in every area of life. It's whether you're meeting like family abroad who you've never met before, which for me, I have more family I think that I haven't met than family that I have. because we're kind of all over. So, meeting even family for the first time, you still want to create that first impression, a nice first impression with them, and the first impression is the one that they're going to solidly remember and take you at, think that that's the person who you are. If it's in a romantic way, that first impression is going to be what they see as what they think they're going to get. If you're going on a job interview, that first impression is the person who they think they're going to get, okay? Because that first impression is kind of like they say that a picture is 1,000 words. Your first impression, your look, your appearance, the way that you are showing yourself, you're showing up to the world, that is worth 1,000 words. Okay, so just remember that, because that image is like a picture, because it will stick in people's minds. Therefore, it is actually worth more than 1,000 words, and they're going to remember that. So the first impression is the one that counts. The first impression is the one that you have to think about. What impression do I want to create? This also goes for things like seeming like a woman who's actually confident. You want to seem like that, but you don't just want to appear to be a confident woman. You actually want to take steps mentally towards being one. And when you are confident and you're showing the world that you are a confident woman, and a man is going to see that, he's going to understand also in that instance that, okay, this is a woman I do have to impress. It's not going to be easy to get what I want, what his agenda is. He will understand fully that he needs to come with gentlemanly gestures, helping you out, maybe with your bills, with your rent, going on nicer, plusher dates, going to nicer places, and him just putting more effort into that dating experience with you, because he knows that, okay, she's a confident woman, she's not going to put up with nonsense. I can't show up and take her to Wagamama. No, I have to come with something more. So that is exactly what he's going to do. And ladies, this is one of the biggest secondary first impressions you can make. This is by showing somebody what you are willing to accept. So that means if they are doing something, giving you something, treating you like, saying something to you that you do not like, that isn't up with what you think that you should be having, you have to address it and tell them what you do like, what you do want. And if they don't do that, then my thing is you just kind of don't speak to them again until they do what you want. This is you creating your boundaries. Men have to know that, because they are going to push boundaries, they're going to see what they can get away with. It's the same thing that we kind of do as well. What's he going to give me? How much will he give me? What will he where's he going to take me? This, that, and the other. So we kind of do it, but for different reasons. And they are going to do this as well, but they're really pushing the boat out so that they can see what they can get away with. And making sure that you have a solid boundary line, and he knows what your boundaries are, so he knows what you want, what you expect. This is very important. This is a secondary first impression that you have to create. So you've made the first impression in terms of your look, your appearance, how you're presenting yourself, plus you have a secondary first impression, which is what your boundaries are, what you're going to put up with. And then he fully knows what to come with, what kind of woman you are. He knows that he's attracted to you. He knows that you're not going to tolerate nonsense. And that will really set the foundation for how your dating experience with him is going to go on. So you have to create that first impression from the outset, with in terms of what you want, and that you're this confident woman who takes pride in her appearance, you think highly of yourself, and you expect somebody to think highly of you back and treat you that way. There are instances where you can change the impression that you've already given out. This means that now they're seeing you as a new version of yourself, and you're able to kind of recreate your standards, your boundaries, what people should how they should take you at face value. So you're able to kind of do that. But in a romantic setting, I would say that you need to start as you mean to go on. I think that that is the most powerful first impression. But of course, you can recreate a first impression, but you really have to do it with oomph. Like, let's say you turn up on a first date and you have not fully put your best foot forward. If you get to date number two, you need to look like you are a 29 out of 10. Okay, so that's what you have to do. Instead of 25, you have to be a 29. And then you'll be able to kind of redeem yourself and still be able to put your standards out on a plate for him like this. And he can kind of then understand what the memo is. So you can recreate that first impression, but then you just have to do it times 1,000. So it's still possible, it's still doable, it's still redeemable, it's still achievable. But why would you do that when you could really just do it the first time? You want to have them kind of in a frenzy where it's like, I met this woman, he's talking to his golf buddies. I met this woman, she's just wow. I went to have a drink before my last meeting and I saw this woman and she just looked incredible. I can't believe it. Like, she literally took my breath away. Like, it's nicer to have that impression rather than not creating that one and then having to redo it. It's just nicer to just do it the first time, but you can still redeem yourself. So he might say to his buddies, look, she looked really good. Gosh, I saw her the second time and I couldn't believe my eyes. Like, literally, she is incredible. So you can still recreate that first impression, but more memorable, more impressionable, more powerful when you just do it the first time. And we've got to think of things from a man's perspective as well. When they create a first impression, what things are you looking at? If he looks like he takes care of himself, if he looks like a man who is in his masculine energy, because that's what you really are wanting, because that is appealing to us, that is sexy to us. You want a man who looks like he is successful in his own right. The more high achieving, the more they look like they can look after you and kind of have that more masculine input into your life. That's the one who you're going to find more attractive and find yourself more drawn to. Definitely, because it's in us by way of nature to want that looking after, that protection, that guidance from that kind of masculine energy around us. That is what we want, even though you don't have to always take the guidance because we have the intuition, so we know more most of the time. So it's about, you know, having them around for what we need them there for, which is to add to our lives, have children with, and, you know, for them to kind of entertain us with nice dates, give us some nice conversation here and there, and we'll be good. So let's just think about this. You have to look at yourself and say, look, what look do I have? What's the first impression that I'm creating? What first impression am I sending out? Are the kinds of men who I'm attracted to, who I want, would they be attracted to me as the way that I am right now? And you have to look at yourself as a critic, be nice to yourself, but be honest, and then make changes accordingly with your makeup, with your posture, with your clothing, with your, you know, your wardrobe, with your hairstyles, with your nails as well, and then see what kind of first impression that creates. And it's trial and error. Keep going until you're happy with your look and the first impression that you're able to put out. And I'll see you in my next video. Don't forget, get up, get dressed, get out, be seen.